Actually, you know what? Screw it.
Oh, okay.
Can we bring Doogie in? Let's just do one with Doogie.
Sure.
Let's do one with Doogie here. Okay. All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Mackie and Judd, Reckless Speculation Thursday here.
Reckless
Okay.
speculation.
So I have for you guys, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blockbuster Timberwolves trade ideas. 4 of them are from NBAanalysis.net. And one of them is from a listener, Jordan Diekman, on Twitter, which we will get to. But I want to run this one by you to start with, and then we can go from there. All right, this is going to sound ridiculous on the surface, but let me preface it by saying having cap space in the summer of 2023 is a great thing for the Timberwolves. And so if there's a way where you could shake things up, maybe get some future assets, but not compromise your 2023 cap space in the summer and have $50 to $60 million to spend on whatever you want, then that's an interesting concept, okay? So the first idea here from NBAanalysis.net is the Timberwolves would trade D'Angelo Russell and Malik Beasley. So you'd be trading about $48, $9 million in salary cap space.
Cool.
And they would receive, and I'll give you the team, I'll go backwards here. They would receive a 2027 unprotected first-round pick, a 2028 unprotected first-round pick. I don't think that's allowed, right?
That
Wouldn't
is
have to
not
be
allowed.
So it would have
rule. Yeah.
So I think this is a typo. So that 2 future first-round picks well into the future. And 1 year of Russell Westbrook. Lakers.
Reckless speculation.
No.
He would come off the books, and you would essentially get 2 future first round picks, and you would still keep your cap space for 2023. Would you consider this?
Do the Lakers even have future first-round picks after the Anthony Davis trade?
Well, that far into
That's
the future,
probably why.
I think they do. I think that's why
but there's
you're getting.
a cutoff. You can't trade your 2036 first-round pick right now.
But you
There
can
are
trade one
rules. You
5
can only
years in the
trade.
future.
Yeah, I think it's 5, but I think the cutoff is right at that moment. I would need to look at what the Lakers have. But bottom line, I want nothing to do with Russell
I know he's so bad. He's so bad.
You can maintain. Remember, Russell expiring contract, Beasley team option. So Beasley you can look at as an expiring contract.
Yeah.
If you're talking about the pathway to 2023 maximum cap space, just keep Russell and Beasley. You don't need Russell Westbrook.
And your team gets worse.
Well, yeah, but you would get the future first round picks for 5 years down the
but
road.
I don't want
I'm
the
just saying.
future.
It's,
Not
I'm just
Russell
I want the
only
present.
one. Yes, you get worse. You get
I want the
significantly
present.
worse.
This isn't the old Wolves.
But I think I agree with you guys that if you're looking to stay good, not get worse, and have cap space for 2023 summer, then you would just keep D'Angelo Russell. You would need more to get rid of those guys, right?
Right.
All right, Dukes. I wanted to run that one by you before we.
No, I appreciate it. That was fun.
Gloriously.
I hope the next couple scenarios you have, or if it's 3 more or 4 more, at least one involves Gerson Rosas and the Knicks. Let's not forget, D'Lo's biggest fan in the league is now an employee of the New York Knicks. So look at the Knicks roster, come up with an idea where Russell ends up in Manhattan.
Love it. So none of these have the Knicks, but we'll do a separate episode maybe next Thursday just exploring Knicks trade possibilities because that's what we do on Reckless Speculation Thursday here.
Reckless
Thanks,
All right.
speculation.
Great
All
stuff,
right, have a
Doogie.
good holiday weekend, boys. See ya.
All right,
too,
that's
man.
Darren Doogie Wolfson. Just he's still hanging out from the scoop session, which was great.
I don't think D'Lo playing for Tibbs would work out too well. Do you guys?
I mean, Tibbs isn't going to be the coach there for much longer anyway. So
I don't know.
I can make it
Jeff
work.
Teague dribbled the damn air out of the basketball on numerous occasions. I think he wouldn't be okay with D'Lo.
Yeah, I think they would.
I think D'Lo is a little too sensitive for Tibbs. I think his feelings would be hurt.
Fudge.
All right, let's get to some of these other ideas.
All right, let's hear 'em.
Okay. So this is idea number 2. These are reckless. I just want for those of you who are uninitiated, this is Reckless Speculation Thursday.
Yep.
This is a safe space to just throw ideas out to
It's a
explore.
lifestyle.
Yep.
This is a lifestyle.
We're just kicking some fun stuff around here. Okay.
Reckless speculation.
Again, this is from NBAanalysis.net.
Okay.
The Timberwolves would trade D'Angelo Russell and Malik Beasley And then they're kind of vague about it, saying like future picks. So I'm going to specify 3 future first-round picks. I will specify. And they would receive Damian Lillard.
Oh my God.
3 future firsts.
And by the way, you can
Dame?
take this and mold it. You can counter offer. Maybe you say 2 future firsts.
How old
So
is Dame right now?
Dame is a good question. Dame is 32.
No.
Yep.
He played 29 games. He was banged up last year.
Yeah, I don't
And
know.
he was slumping as a shooter. His points per game were down. If I'm getting 2 years ago version of Damian Lillard, this is a no-brainer. And I have a Damian Lillard, Anthony Edwards backcourt with Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah,
I
I
am
agree with that.
competing for a championship.
Yes.
Now Dame's under contract for 3 more years. I think the question is, some of these smaller players, these combo guards that they've played 10 plus years in the league and they're high usage guys, they can fall off a cliff quick, right? Allen Iverson, James Harden, those are different type of players, but like those high usage guards can fall off a cliff.
Yep.
So to what extent is he going to bounce back from a down injury plagued season? And then there's another aspect of this is, does he even want to leave Portland? To this point, inexplicably, the answer has been no. He's
Well, let's
just
say-
riding out his career.
Let's say he does. What would you? So I guess to your point, 3 years back, this trade makes perfect sense.
Oh,
Like, yeah,
God.
of
He's
course.
yeah.
So what do you think is left as far as the window for his play to coincide with a Wolves? I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'll say it slow. A Wolves championship type run, because the one thing about those picks is if you bury those picks, like if you're good, right? Those first round picks are valuable, but they
You're
certainly
fine.
aren't.
You
lottery
already got
picks.
Anthony Edwards and you got
Right.
Jaden McDaniels.
So my question
Yeah,
is,
you're fine.
what do you think? Like, if you were the Wolves GM, what do you think is left for Dame as far as the opportunity for his play to coincide with the Wolves possibly being able to make a run?
So this is where it's so hard, because the 2 years ago version of Damian Lillard makes you, I think, one of the 5 or 6 best teams in the NBA. And it's hard because there's still some issues with depth in certain spots, especially if you trade away. You'd need to find another shooter, which you can probably find. It's not that hard to just find a shooter on a lower contract. But if you're telling me I get ascending Anthony Edwards, I get Karl Anthony Towns now kind of becomes like the third guy here, and he would be the best third guy in the entire league, right?
Yep. Yes.
And if I get 2 years ago version of Damian Lillard, that team is competing for an NBA championship, 100%. So to answer your question, would it coincide with the window? It would blast the window wide open, 100%. And you would have no problem giving up the future picks. Now, okay, what's in it for Portland, right? Portland's not actively looking to hit the reset button. They've made it known we're trying to build around Damian Lillard. So Damian Lillard would have to demand a trade, dig his heels in. I think they would oblige. I think they've, hey, it's been 10 plus years. Would this type of a package be enough for the Blazers? Well, what would they be getting? It's not really about D'Lo and Malik Beasley. It would be about those guys coming in and then coming off the books. You basically have, almost $50 million coming off the books, and then you could go and sign some players or make a trade or something. Now, who's going to want to sign in Portland if Dame's not there? Is the cap space really that valuable? And the 3 future first-round picks? I don't know. Do I think Portland would consider this? Probably not. I think they want to build around Dame. But this is so interesting. If you think he's got a year or 2 of gas left in the tank, you should call.
He's also hit some humongous shots. He's been there and done that in the postseason. He got that team to the Western Conference Finals not too long ago. I was told from someone who's very plugged into the Portland Trail Blazers organization.
The insiding.
Oh my God, dude. Oh my God.
That
Such a random scoop here.
God, go Woj, go.
that Damian Lillard isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, that's
That
probably
they're trying to build through the draft, that they have some mid-level exceptions. Yes, they're probably not. If things go all right, their ceiling is a play-in team. That's their probably ceiling for next season. They traded away C.J. McCollum. They're not the same team they used to be, but Dame is not going anywhere from someone I've been told.
Yeah, they're going to try and
that.
land someone.
Shams.
To pair.
Your Portland Trailblazers insider, Declan Goff of Score North.
A random scoop.
I'm going to tell you right now, I
got
was
scoops.
talking to the Sacramento Kings front office.
Yeah.
They told me their team stinks.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I have. Should we move on here? Are we good on this one? So
I'm good on my. That's
we
my
pick up
scoop
the
of-
phone. You definitely pick
Yeah.
up the phone. You poke around, and you.
I
Probably
am
get told
probably
no.
on a scale of 1 to 10. That trade right now, I'm probably at like a 3 though, because I'm very
A
concerned
3 in terms
about,
of what, that you would make it, or
if
that
I'm
it
the
would,
Wolves, I'm very concerned that he is that I'm going to get a guy whose best years are done. 3 years ago, I'm with you, Phil.
Yeah.
But it's not.
it's tough.
So that's
It's,
3 draft picks.
It's
too.
tough. Not. It's so hard to look at. Oh, like James Harden. It's happening with James Harden.
Correct.
You look at how good that guy was for 8 or 10 years, and you're trying to look at him in the same way now, and it's just So you're in your 30s. You've been a high usage player. In James Harden's case, he just doesn't really take care of his body as much. Damian Lillard does. That's the thing about. But how many guys that look and play like Damian Lillard at that size, that position, that usage are still doing that at age 34, right? 35. They're not.
And this is not a fat problem. It's more of a wear and tear on the joints problem too. So I'm probably good, dog. Thank you very much.
All right, 3 more. This next one's presented by our friends at Federated Mutual Insurance Company. Okay, Federated, in addition to being there for business owners for 100+ years and partnering with the Timberwolves as well, they have helped raise $44 million for Big Brothers Big Sisters since 2005, and Big Brothers Big Sisters is all about providing mentoring presence for children, young adults that just need some extra support around them to realize their bright future. So if you want to find out more about how you could potentially get involved as a big, federatedchallenge.org. The federatedchallenge.org website is your place. Also, a shout out to our friends at Dennis Kirk. A little cold today in the Twin Cities, but it is riding season here. Summer months are ahead of us here. Dennis Kirk, whether you ride a Harley, Indian, Metric Cruiser, sport bike, whatever it is, maybe you're crunch on one of those motorcycles or something, and you're looking for some extra parts.
Don't hit anyone.
Over 160,000 parts and accessories in stock, free shipping on orders over $89, and you can find out more at DennisKirk.com. Ride more, wait less at DennisKirk.com. Okay.
Speculation.
Here is reckless trade idea number 3, again from NBAanalysis.net. The Timberwolves would trade Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, and a 2024 first-round pick to the Atlanta Hawks for forward John Collins. Here's the write-up, okay?
Yeah, let's hear it.
If they're looking to upgrade at the 4, the Timberwolves, that is, Collins checks that box. Borderline all-star, 24 years old, has ample time to remove the borderline from that sentence about being an all-star. Even if he doesn't improve at all, adding him to this current Timberwolves core virtually guarantees them one of the best offenses in the NBA. Because he's a stretch 4. He can shoot. He's a much more versatile offensive player than Jared Vanderbilt is.
Yes.
I mean, Vanderbilt is
Bendo.
about the least versatile offensive player in the NBA. He's
got a
kind of a tree stump on offense, but he's everything else he does. Yeah, it's amazing. As for the Hawks, they'd be swapping a deal with 3 years remaining for 2 deals with 1 year remaining. It's a cap clearing move, basically, that allows them to reset around Trae Young. So Collins is 24 years old. Like I said, he's a really good stretch 4 offensively. He's like 17 to 19 points per game, 8 rebounds, and he's under contract for 4 more years, around $25 million per year. Ooh. So you would lose Vanderbilt, who for the next 2 years is sitting around $4.5 million. He's one of the best bargains in the league, just with the amount of activity that he generates. This would also take a huge chunk out of your cap space for next summer, but if you determine that this is the move that you would make anyways next summer, so your starting lineup would be Cat and John Collins, offense. Collins can block a few shots here and there too, and then you would have D'Lo still for another year because this trade would not involve D'Lo, Anthony Edwards, and then whether it's Jaden McDaniels or Pat Beverly, whoever you want to start at the other position. What do you think?
Can John Collins? How good is he considered defensively?
I mean, he's not locked down. This would be a move to bolster your offense even more. Like you're already the highest scoring team in the NBA. This would put you on another level offensively.
I'm intrigued by this. I have to admit I have some concerns defensively because certainly the closer that you get to the playoffs, the more important that part of the game becomes. But I'm far more intrigued by this potential deal than the last one, considering the compensation going back to the team I'm trading with.
I'm intrigued by it, but it just seems like, John Collins is a not as effective Karl Anthony Towns, and he's cheaper. Like, he's a stretch four. He can score he can get to the basket. He can score from all over the place. He can grab some boards, but like defensively, he's kind of meh. Now he's cheaper. He's cheaper than Karl Anthony Towns. Like, it kind of seems like I would be downgrading from Towns, but I would just be putting two players like that on the court, and I don't know if that's going to really make you any better than you were last season.
Well, this would make your offense even better. Like, you could make a case that you'd be the best offense in the NBA, especially if Anthony Edwards took a step forward and Jaden McDaniels took a step forward. The question is, okay, how much are you sacrificing defensively by getting rid of Jared Vanderbilt? Right. You know, if there was a way to add a big and keep Vanderbilt on the team, and maybe he comes off the bench, and now all of a sudden you've got his defense, coming off the bench, I'm all about it. But I love John Collins. I would consider this if you could make up for Jared Vanderbilt's defense in some other way on the team.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe that becomes maybe Jaden McDaniels takes another step, and he all of a sudden he's in your starting lineup, and you got Jaden McDaniels. And by the way, Anthony Edwards can be a lockdown defender when he wants to be as well. Yeah, it's not to be overlooked.
I told Doogie to get in line. Yeah, no, I think the era of Jaden McDaniels is just beginning. It's just beginning here.
Defense and penalty kill are effort, gentlemen. They're effort. Mm-hmm. Do you want to
sell out?
Okay, here's the fourth one.
Got a grade.
NBAanalysis.net, reckless trade ID number 4.
Reckless speculation.
I don't know about this one, but I don't know if I get this one, but we'll throw it out there. Okay, the Timberwolves would trade D'Angelo Russell to the Clippers for Norman Powell, Terrence Mann, Zubac, and Reggie Jackson.
I love Reggie. I'm a huge Reggie Jackson stan.
He's jumped the shark at this point.
He always seems to come in here and
he needs to calm down.
The lights out.
He's one of those players that on one night he can be the savior, and the next night he can completely shipwreck you. So the write-up says this trade is a perfect example of one team consolidating talent and another one turning high-end assets into significant depth. The Wolves would land a veteran scorer, a young versatile wing, an interior enforcer, and a high post hub, and a steady floor general with upside in the postseason. The Clippers would finally land the point guard they've needed since Kawhi and Paul George first came to La La Land.
All right.
And so Powell got hurt. He had a foot injury. I don't think he had surgery, but he missed a bunch of time last year. He's under contract for 4 more years, around $18 million a year. He's like 28 years old. Really good player. Reggie Jackson, I don't know. Again, he can kill you one night and he can save you the next night. But he only has 1 year, $11 million left. So whatever.
Expiring deal.
He's got to be in his 30s.
God, he's early 30s, I think.
Yeah.
Terrence Mann randomly dropped like 40 or 50 points in a playoff game. Remember that last year? So he has 3 years left, $2 million next year, and then $11 million each of the next 2 years after that. And then Zubac, he's a rim protecting, rebounding big man with 1 year, $7.5 million left. This feels like a no-brainer if you're the Timberwolves. I don't know why the Clippers would give up this many things for D'Angelo Russell.
The rim protection really intrigues me.
Yeah.
I think the Wolves desperately need that. They desperately need, and look, when Nas is going well, I like him, and Nas works his ass off. So this is no knock against Nas, but it always felt like there were enough games where Nas would replace Carl, and it wouldn't help, or Finch didn't play them together, which is what I would like at times. So yeah, I mean, if I'm the Wolves contractually, this also sounds like, for the most part, it makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm. I like Norman Powell.
It feels
good.
Norman Powell, yeah.
So the other thing about this trade is Pat Beverly would be reuniting with, it would basically be, wouldn't it be just be like Pat Beverly's Clippers from a year or two ago, minus the stars? It would just be like all the grinder role players from the Clippers put on this Timberwolves
But this team needs, I mean, the Wolves, I think the playoffs showed this for sure. They need some grinders, right?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, and
they could use some more grinders.
The Clippers have a bunch of those guys.
My Trailblazers scoop, the person who I was talking to told me that Norman Powell is very much available when he was moved to the Clippers, and that the Timberwolves could have been very interested in him. So I decided.
I love it. We
got Shams
are we working
Jr.
with Shams here? Yeah, what's happening?
I was told.
Speculation.
In fact, I was told word for word. I'm reading it right now in this text message when I was talking about this in February about Norman Powell. I'm reading this word for word. Okay, word for word.
Okay.
Said I wouldn't be shocked at all for a Malik Beasley and Norman Powell swap when that was back at the trade deadline. Wouldn't be shocked at all. From someone that's very plugged into the Trailblazers organization.
The aggregators are going to come to us now.
Here's the thing, though. But the thing about Powell is because he's got $18 million per year or so on his contract. This is another one of those hypothetical trades where, okay, how much? And then Terrence Mann, kicks in at 11. So now you're putting $30 million on the books for 2023. Are those guys worth putting that much money on the books in the summer of 2023 when you could just run it back and clear the deck for 2023, right? That's why that's the thing that I would hesitate on here is what am I costing myself next summer?
Here's my question off of that point. It's very, very simple. How good do you think that you can be with any of these trades next season? Because if you're like, I can win a playoff round, can win 2, okay? Then I'm like, oh, okay. I get that.
Yeah.
If you say, they're all just sort of okay trades, but they're not going to make you great, then I think you basically allow, for lack of a better term, nature to take its course contractually.
Yeah.
So if you see a trade here, Phil, and you're like, okay, that trade has the potential to put this team into a different tax bracket as far as success goes, then I think it's probably smart.
I'll give you one more here, and we'll get to some old tweets exposed to wrap the show here. All right, 5 reckless Timberwolves trade ideas on this Reckless Speculation Thursday. This one comes in from loyal listener Jordan Diekman on Twitter. Kind of like this one. You would swing a deal with the Chicago Bulls, a sign and trade for free agent Zach LaVine.
Oh,
I've seen this.
So Zach LaVine would re-sign with the Bulls
be still
in a sign and trade, and you would swap. You would give them D'Lo and probably a first-round pick. Because Zach can go sign with pretty much anyone, but if he decides, I want to play for the Timberwolves, and the Timberwolves say, yeah, that sounds really good to us, the Wolves don't have enough cap space to sign him because he's going to wind up, I don't know, $30+ million a year, maybe $40 million a year. So you'd have to go to the Bulls and say, hey, can you help us out here? And the Bulls would say, we can help you out, but we need some assets. So you would do a sign and trade, and they would get D'Lo and let's say a first-round pick. And maybe it would cost more than that. I don't know. But let's say D'Lo and a first-round pick for Zach LaVine. Your starting lineup would then be, I guess you could just roll with a backcourt of Anthony Edwards and Zach LaVine. I mean, Zach LaVine was drafted as a point guard, but he's been much more of a shooting guard, combo guard. I mean, Lonzo Ball was their point guard last year in Chicago. So could you have a lineup where you've got these two just incredibly explosive wing players, two of the most explosive slashers, dunkers, three-point shooters, and Jordan McLaughlin is running point and Anthony Edwards is playing the 3? It's very undersized. But I don't know. Would you consider Zach LaVine?
If I do that, are there enough shots to go around?
That's a good question. Well, Zach needs more than D'Lo. Zach's going to need a few more shots than D'Lo was taking.
But I mean, that's got to be a consideration, right?
I think maybe you would just tell guys Taurean Prince isn't under contract anymore. You would tell those guys, listen, Taurean, Malik. So Malik Beasley took 10 shots a game last year.
Yeah.
6 is plenty. Okay, let's take 4 of those shots, give them to somebody else.
He's going to understand that. I don't think that conversation is going to go too well for you, Phil Finch.
So you guys are out on this one?
Yeah, I'm probably. I love Zach LaVine, but I don't know how it would work.
Well, I would have,
too.
I would have to know what the strategy would be with him on the roster.
It just feels like let's put a bunch of offense in an arena and worry about defense and everything else later.
And my thing is this: it's sexier and more fun to talk about that potential, but this team had major problems with defense.
Yeah.
And I think to win, you need guys that want to play and can set the tone for, and it has to go beyond just Pat Bev, guys that actually want to engage in playing defense, which is no fun.
I think size becomes a huge problem because you could say, well, there's some other examples. Look at the Clippers with Kawhi Leonard and and Paul George, and they just kind of figure out point guard with whoever makes sense. Yeah, but those guys are taller. I mean, those guys are like, they'll grab rebounds and they can play the 3 or the 4 on a small lineup. You can't put Anthony Edwards at the 4. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could if you had a better rim protecting big man. But so I love the idea. Zach LaVine is the one that got away from me, but I just don't know that. I don't know how you make that lineup work. I guess. So I think my favorite of these trades, it's the Damian Lillard trade, and just pray that he comes back with 2 more years of explosiveness. I make that phone call, man. I make that phone call.
The John Collins one intrigues me the most. I've got some concerns, but I think that would be a trade that I think the type of trade this team has considered previously and would be very intriguing.
Yeah, and then you'd hang on to D'Lo for a year,
Yep.
and then you would let his contract come off the books or something, and then you'd
Collins
still have
would be
some
yours.
cap space for 2023. Interesting. So there you go. Those are 5 reckless Timberwolves trade ideas. Do not, if you think these are ridiculous, well, that's your problem. You don't live the lifestyle of reckless speculation. It was ridiculous to say at one point that the Wolves would trade Andrew Wiggins for D'Lo, and look what happens. Crazy things happen all the time. All right. Also, every Thursday, Declan goes into the Twitter archives and finds incriminating tweets from our past. Old tweets exposed here.
Judd's pecking order on Tuesday. We were talking about, worst executives. So I figured I would comb through some names that were mentioned in the worst executives list that Judd made. So I'll self-report, actually. I'll start with me. I'm going to self-report because it actually works in chronological order a little bit here. All right, let's go back to one of my first tweets, actually. August 23rd, 2011. If it can pop up on the screen here. There it is. God, I despise Bill Smith. Please get Terry Ryan back up in here. I was done with Bill Smith, and I wanted Terry Ryan to come back and work for the Twins. The Bill Smith part's fine. Bill Smith was terrible, but I wanted Terry Ryan back up in here.
You got what you wanted.
I did get what I wanted, too. Young savant. I was like, this is maybe also like first or second day of college because I started early.
So you were just drunk.
No.
You're probably drinking some Bud Lights or something, some sort of cheap beer. Yeah.
Yeah, but this would have been the first couple days in college. I did get my wish, I guess, and man, it didn't work out too well.
But you weren't entirely wrong at the time.
I wasn't wrong.
Hell, the poll ads came to be on the same page as you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were right about Bill Smith, and then you were right about getting Terry Ryan back up in here. You just didn't know that Terry Ryan was not going to be the same version. So I can let you off the hook on this one. Let's see what else we got.
Let's go to Judd Zulgad on a similar vein.
It's going to get me.
April 2nd, 2012, Twins GM Terry Ryan has been firm but fair upon his return to the spring, and that leads Judd Zulgad's roundup. August 2nd, 2012. Terry Ryan's been firm but fair upon his return to this spring.
Okay, is firm but fair not what they're going to put on Terry Ryan's gravestone? I mean, that's exactly how you would describe. He's very firm but fair.
Yep.
He's a firm but fair man. Firm handshake.
Yeah. It's a very pull-ad pocket protector move from Judd Zulgad here to protect Terry Ryan and the organization with this comment.
Well, this was 2000. So this was his first year back, right?
Yeah.
2012.
Yep.
Well, I mean, yeah, I was optimistic. The thing is, whenever things start, I'm always optimistic. I'm always.
You have the Jaguars winning more games than the Vikings this year.
Rose-colored glass. Yeah, you know why? Because I'm optimistic about the Jaguars.
Okay.
All right. Jaguars Daily coming up next on Score North.
Yeah, well, Portland Trailblazers scoops.
I try. Okay, I try. A couple months prior from Phil Mackey, February 26, 2012, Terry Ryan
he wins. You win.
laid the groundwork for 6 division championships. Before questioning his every move, give him more than 3 months to operate. Come on, guys.
Yeah, give him a few
Hilarious,
years.
dude.
Wait to see how far he can drag the franchise into the muck.
Ryan Domit and Josh Willingham, a great offseason of 2011.
Ryan Domit.
Hilarious. Look at me. I'm just standing out in front of Target Field, just fending people off. I think this is before the like button was a thing too. So
right. Well, yeah.
Somebody went back in the archives and found. Maybe it was you. I don't know.
No, I can't like it because then you guys get notified. I've made that mistake once before.
Ricky Nolasco. You got.
Pelfrey came
Jamie
along
Carroll?
eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Jamie
was
Carroll. Corner locker.
this was headlined by the Willingham, Domit, Carroll. Oh, also was this Jason Markey? Was Jason Marquis the 5 starts in
he was
2012 before
2012, I think
Well,
so.
around, yeah.
like an ERA of 9 and 6
Because I
starts
just
or whatever?
joined the station at the time. So, yeah, I think that was Marquis' first. Yeah.
So there you
First
have it.
and only.
Old tweets exposed here
Congratulations, Phil Mackey.
on Mackie and Judd.
Good job.
Happy Reckless Speculation Thursday to all who celebrate. Tomorrow marks the return of Action Movie Rewind. We're going to go back to a classic, Top Gun, because we're going to do Top Gun, and then we're going to go into the theaters here in the next couple weeks and watch Top Gun Maverick. So you guys have been asking. It's been almost a year on hiatus for Action Movie Rewind. We're bringing it back. And we're going to start with a clean slate because there's a lot of people that just jumped into the show for the first time here in the last 2 years.
Yes.
And so we're going to start with a clean slate, and we're going to rank and review action movies as if
New
we've
list.
never ranked them before. It's be great. All right. We'll see you guys. See you guys tomorrow. Study up.